I want to welcome him to the program, Whitelock Fever Live. It's Pete Jupp from FM. Hello, Pete. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, very good.
Now, how's lockdown treating you? The tail end of lockdown, we're all allowed to go back to the pub on a couple of weeks ago. How's it been for you?
Yeah. I mean, you've just got to do it, haven't you? You know, it's nothing you can do. So I've just been getting on with it, really. Would rather not have been doing it, but I think I'm more used to lockdown now than normal life. Kind of might be weird going back to normal life actually after this.
Yeah. Well, the album we're here to talk about, Toughen Out Live, the new live album on Frontiers. I guess during this period, I mean, if you got your focus would have been on these business things, right? You can't play gigs, so the first thing I wanted to ask about the album is, you know, you went through all the tapes of a whole tour and patched together the best songs, rather than just put out one show. And I'm sure there's purists out there who are like, oh, I just, you know, like fans are kind of precious about things like that. How did you arrive at the decision to do the album that way?
Well, we wanted to, you know, because like I say, we did try and record every show, but we had a few technical problems, and our sound team were like coming up with all these, you know, various reasons why it would stop recording and all this, and it ended up just being a dodgy USB cable. So once that, so I think we recorded about 5 or 6 of the shows. We had the full show. But I think it's nice to, you know, it would have been nice if we could have had at least one song from every show. I think, you know, that was our decision. Let's just do Manchester or Newcastle. Let's just do a few from each one that we had, kind of thing, you know.
And what's the process of sort of whittling it down and deciding the best versions? Is it a subjective thing what the best version is, or is it actually pretty objective? There's a mistake there, we can't use that one. You know, how do you decide?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So it was hard finding ones without any mistakes on, but no, it just some felt better. You know, it's weird. It was a band decision. I think I went through everything, and then sent it to the rest of the band, and it was a band decision on what shows we used. What some of them, I think the first 3 songs are kind of joined together, so we had to use them from the same show. So if a song was joined together, then we'd keep it from the same show, kind of thing. But no, it was a group decision, really, which songs. Yeah, it wasn't quite that straightforward, but there's probably a bit of arguing. You know, so, well, I sung better on that one. My solo's better on that version. You know, well, my drumming, you know, sort of thing. But we got there in the end. We didn't split up, so it was all right. You know.
Yeah. We're going to, as I explained to you, and I think some people heard me explaining to you, we're going to play a song. But I wanted to ask you, because this is actually showing on the Facebook page of Hot Metal, which is a great old Australian rock magazine back in the 80s and 90s. Isn't around anymore. I'd love to bring it back, working on it. And the great Australian connection I discovered was that a guy called Peter Carpin kind of almost discovered the band, poached you from under the noses of a record company you were about to sign with. What can you tell us about Peter? Because he's who's who of rock. You know, he seems to have worked with everybody.
Yeah, well, what happened with Peter was we had done a showcase for CBS before they became Sony, and they passed on the band. They said, no, we're not interested. And then we were out on tour with Meatloaf, and our management had negotiated another deal with another label. And it was the last night of the tour, and this label came out to meet us. And before we met them, our manager said, just before we go any further, go along with everything, you know, agree with everything they say, but tomorrow you're signing into CBS. We're like, what? He said, yeah. Peter Carpin really loved the band, and he got Portrait Records. He became the head of Portrait Records that was within CBS, and he said, I want this to be my first signing. So
wow,
there you go. Yeah, good old Pete. You know, he was a great bloke. The only thing he ever did wrong, Peter, was he had a demo of the song. You know, the John Farnham song, "The Voice."
Yep. He
had a demo of that song, and he said to us, "Oh, I thought it might be good for you, but I didn't think you'll be interested." And we're like, I know hindsight, it was a big hit, but you know, it's such a great song. I'm sure we would have gone, yeah, that's brilliant. But he said, no, I just didn't think you'd be interested, so I didn't play it to you. So that was his one mistake. Yeah.
You know, John Farnham was offered "We Built This City" by Starship, but he turned it down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I can't imagine John Farnham singing that song. You know what I mean? Like, I can't.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
he's such a great singer, though, isn't he? He can probably sing anything, and it'll sound great, you know. So
more farewell tours than Kiss as well, John Farnham.
Oh, really? Okay. Right.
Okay, a pretty messy join for the people watching, but for people listening on the podcast, a really neat welcome back. And it's the second part of our interview with Pete Jupp from FM. I want to thank him for joining us. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the hiatus, like 1995 to 2007. Now, to me, in 1995, AOR music was kind of considered soundtrack music. You know, you wouldn't imagine that it had its own scene. Did that kind of play a role in the band breaking up, because there didn't seem to be a market for it anymore with grunge and everything like that?
Well, when the grunge thing came in, I mean, we just became so unfashionable. It was untrue, and it really was. It was like, I just don't think we were kind of going backwards, really. Like I say, we didn't fall out. It was just literally, I just don't think there's a market for this kind of music at the moment, you know, or whether there will be again. And that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
So we took the hiatus, and luckily Kieran Dargan pestered us to do the Firefest, and well, I suppose the rest is history, kind of thing, you know.
So tell me what it's like to show up there on the night. I guess you've been told stories about it, but to see that this thing, which used to be considered 80s commercial music and like I said, slow motion soundtrack music. I'm not insulting you, but that's the way it was considered.
Yeah, totally.
That's what it was considered in the mid-90s. Yeah. And then to see it's turned into an underground scene. I mean, what was that like to have this, you know, this revelation, you know?
Well, when we got back to do the Firefest, we couldn't do a warm-up show. We just had to do. We weren't allowed to contractually. We just had to do the gig, which was, you know, nerve-wracking enough. And we had no plans for after the show. It was just, we'll just do the one show. We'll have a good time. We hopefully won't embarrass ourselves too much, kind of thing. And we honestly thought, if 200 people turn up, that's a real result, you know. But we sold it out, 1,500 people, Nottingham Rock City. And honestly, this sounds really cliched and stuff, but you could feel the love coming from the audience for the band. I mean, I was sat at the back and I was filling up, kind of thing, just from the emotion.
Yeah.
And we came off stage, and it, you know, it went well, and we were shell shocked. You know, it was like, bloody hell, we're gonna have to do an album now. We'll have to for these people. And that was it. You know, we hadn't thought any way past, you know, just getting to that last of the set, you know. And then it just kind of just snowballed from there.
And we went. My wife's in the background here, and we went to one of the subsequent Firefests. It was after they changed the name, became something else. But I was really interested that AOR has now gone off in different directions. You know what I mean? It hasn't. There's now some stuff that is new. It's new music. It's almost a new. It's an evolving genre, isn't it? It doesn't sound exactly the same as it did in 1987, which people don't understand. I don't think, you know.
No, I mean, you know, AOR was always like melodic stuff, wasn't it? You know, and that's what we've always tried to do. You know, when we've written a chorus, it's always got to be a big chorus, lots of melody, kind of thing. But I just think, it is evolving, but there's still the melody there. You know, it's, you know, the melody is the king. Is king, isn't it? Kind of. I always say chorus is king. I don't know. There's a saying, but I can't remember what it is because I'm old and stupid. You know.
Those crazy Scandinavians, the things that they're doing with it are very interesting.
My pleasure.
Just watching some of the clips and some of the interviews before I chatted to you, it occurred to me that in rock bands, the drummer and the singer seem to be the ones who are most at risk of the years catching up with them, because it's a physical endeavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys seem to be, it doesn't seem to be an issue. You know what I mean? Like, your singer's still hitting incredible high notes, even though he had a heckler on the album who said average, shouted out average and distracted him. But tell us about that. Is there a fear of, you know, what's it like? What's the physical toll of drumming? You know,
the hardest part for me is actually climbing up onto the drum riser and actually getting back off the drum riser. My knees are a bit shot, and it's actually quite painful. Like, I can't jump off of, you know, I can't jump around like I used to, kind of thing. But you know, my dodgy knees, they don't affect my playing. Well, maybe some people say they do, but they don't hurt when I'm playing. It's just climbing up onto the drum riser.
Yeah.
So I need a stair lift, I think, you know, take me up there.
Yeah, you're not Lars Ulrich. You don't have a couple of helpers to put you up there.
Right. Well, I would, if I had the money, I would, you know.
Now, a lot, I know, I've actually haven't dwelled on the old days a lot. I know you probably do some interviews where people just want to talk about 1986 or something like that. But if you allow me to ask a couple of questions, because you did some amazing supports, didn't you? You like you know, Bon Jovi. You've already mentioned Meatloaf in the previous program for the people listening. I mean, when you look at, firstly, do you have a lot of sort of souvenirs? Do you have the tour book and you know, little souvenirs and the passes from the Bon Jovi tour? And how do you rationalise that now? You look back on it, and you know, as a part of a narrative in your mind, you know, of your career, and how do you view that period? You know,
it was great. It was great fun, but I actually haven't got any memorabilia at all. I've given it away. I haven't got all the FM albums in the collection. No, honestly, you just sort of give them away to people and never replace them. You know, I've probably got a couple of hoodies which I sometimes wear with FM on. I haven't got any, you know, no, nothing. I remember giving my Slippery When Wet pass to my mate's girlfriend because she was a mad Bon Jovi fan, sort of thing, you know. But no, I've got nothing at all, you know. Just give things away.
And for maybe we've got a few viewers and listeners who are younger than us, and they probably they might look at Bon Jovi the way we would have looked at Fats Domino or Buddy Holly.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
So how would you describe to them what it was like then, and what it meant, and what was it like being on tour with Bon Jovi, and what was the hysteria? That's putting a word in your mouth, I guess. But what was it like during the day and after the show, and why were we into this music so much back then? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky because on the Slippery and Wet tour in the UK, I think it was Newcastle we were playing, and it's when they first found out that Slippery When Wet had gone #1 in the UK and America. And it's just lovely being around them. You know, they were so excited, you know, and psyched about it, kind of thing. They're a lovely bunch of guys. Couldn't have done anything more for us. I remember there was one sound check we turned up at or something, and they were all hungover. They'd been to a casino the night before, and they'd taken a bit longer than they should have done, probably sound checking. And I remember the bass player was holding the doors for us. He said, "Look, this is us. We messed up. We'll hold the doors for you," kind of thing, you know. So no, it was great times, and it was the first time. I think the first gig we did on the tour was Bradford St George's Hall.
Wow!
And it was the first time we'd ever been screamed at. There were girls screaming at us, and it's like, well, this is weird. Kind of nice though, you know. Yeah, no, that tour probably did us more good than any other tour we've ever done. It took us up a level overnight, kind of thing.
Yep. And now they're still screaming. They're still screaming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One more question for the hardcore fans. Maybe there's one or two of them watching as well.
Hopefully.
The next, what's the next move? Obviously, a live album, second live album for Frontiers. Are you?
Yeah.
You had plenty of time, I guess, to work on studio stuff. What's the story?
Well, we've had plenty of time, but we haven't been able to get together. So we've been just writing from home. That is one of the great things about computers. You know, we can all do stuff at home now. Well, Steve can't, because he can't even work a microwave, you know, but yeah, you know, like we've got lots of ideas. Really what we want to do, we want to get out playing live. That's what we want to do, because we didn't have a chance to promote or play live any songs from Synchronized.
Right.
So that's what we want to do next. But of course, that's in the lap of the COVID, you know, sort of thing. But I've got my second jab on the 15th of May, hopefully. So, you know, hopefully at the end of the year, things might start returning to normal. But, you know, I just don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for my text. If anyone from the NHS is watching, thanks very much, Peter. Really appreciate it. It's been really fun talking to you.